officials in Malaysia warn the public to keep sanitation in order to prevent dengue fever infections. Experts give opinion on the hearsay of eating eggplants and mushrooms together may cause poison. Welcome to Diet Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. The kindergarten department of the Tzu Chi University's affiliated senior high school has directed and filmed their own video to teach about epidemic prevention. Also, they want to give thanks to those frontline fighting against this virus.
演员准备好了吗？
好了。
录影机准备好了吗？
好了。
预备。请问你们拍这次的防疫小尖兵影片要告诉别人什么事情？
Becoming a director, cameraman, and reporter, the children are doing a good job filling their role.
请避免出入公共场所、密闭空间，避免群聚传染。
The students of the contentment class from Tzu Chi University affiliated senior high's kindergarten department are making a video to promote epidemic prevention. The students, with the teacher's help, thought up their own script and shot their own video.
你领到口罩了吗？什么时候要戴口罩呢？
We want to tell people not to be scared and wash their hands frequently, wear masks, and avoid going to public places.
谢谢辛苦工作的人。
Thank you those who are working hard. We hope the epidemic can be over soon. Everyone has worked hard.
The students want to inform everyone to avoid the virus by washing hands frequently, wearing masks, and taking their temperatures. Also, disinfecting, exercising, and eating vegetarian food can help to stay healthy. In the end, the students also don't forget to express their gratitude.
They discovered there was a group of people hard at work. For instance, the scientists working on the new drug, as well as hospital staff on the front line helping us. So they wanted to give their thanks. They've learned how to work as a team and respect one another.
Children can too use their persuasion to influence others. As the video is circulated on social media, they want to not only inform others about the right thing to do, but also this.
The long-term battle against coronavirus has led many people to become overly anxious and has contributed to unexpected panic behavior. For example, some may retreat from people without masks and exhibit other antisocial actions. Experts suggest keep positive to strengthen our mind, as well as a few exercises to increase our immunity. Here is our report.
An incident happened at a coffee in Banqiao, New Taipei City. Involved a panicked customer who scared all the customers by saying he had contracted coronavirus. This led many to be frightened and elected a response from both police and academic prevention officers, who ultimately proved it was just a false alarm.
When he came in, he was sitting in that position over there.
On January 31st, the man remained in the cafe for 4.5 hours and walked around constantly.
He stood here talking on his cell phone and then said that he was out of the hospital for 9 days because he was misdiagnosed with novel coronavirus. He wanted to see his friend, but his friend didn't want to see him. Then he started to be hysterical. He said the coronavirus won't kill him. It was nothing serious, nothing to be afraid of.
Because the man did not wear a mask and he was talking loudly, he immediately caused a commotion in this cafe.
And then a customer in the cafe came to talk to our staff and said that he has coronavirus. Shouldn't you ask him to leave because we're all worried?
Upon the arrival of police and epidemic prevention staff, police confirmed the man's list of medications.
The medication he was taking was just that of a common cold. After he left, we cleaned off the tables and chairs in our store. Everything he touched, we wiped and disinfected again.
During this time of epidemic, masks have increased the sense of security amongst the general public, but has also deepened a sense of suspicion among many people.
You are anxious, and these bad emotions usually reflect this. First of all, this comes from a lack of understanding. If you don't understand something, the best way to overcome it is to get more accurate information.
If you want to settle yourself during these extreme times, you need a method. First, we should try to divert our attention from the people around us to ourselves.
我们可以观察一下我们自己的身体，特别最明显就是肩膀。
We can look at our own body. The most obvious things are the shoulders. Do they keep rising and are they tense? Has our speech become faster and our behaviors reacting faster? This is a kind of reaction that may be stressful, and you may be anxious and need to reassure yourself.
急着想要让自己安心的一种惯性反应。
If you feel anxious because you can't get alcohol or a mask, try using mindfulness to stabilize yourself.
有一个很简单的动作，就是把我们手放在心窝胸。
There is a very simple action we can do, which is putting our hands on our chest over our heart. Then close our eyes and quietly feel our heartbeat. Just stay with ourselves quietly, and when we feel calmer, we can open our eyes slowly.
Another method of relaxing is taking time to slowly sip a cup of tea or coffee.
先闻一下这个味道用我们的五感跟这个世界做连接。
Smell it first. Use our five senses to connect with this world. When you drink it, sip it slowly and taste it slowly from our tongue to our teeth and even to the esophagus. What is the state of feeling after it is swallowed? Think of where you are, where your heart is, and how to appreciate everything as our heart is together and connected to this world.
所有的感受都在一起，我们的心就跟这个世界连结了。
From the field of spiritual healing, there are several actions that people can practice to deal with internal panic.
放在胸口，然后这个是三焦经，就是我们4跟5指之间，这边有。
When putting one hand on the chest, we can tap the third pressure point between the fourth and fifth finger, and then put your palm on your heart and tap it and chant to yourself, "I'm safe, my world is safe."
心放在我们的。
Then if you're still afraid of the virus, you need to tell yourself that the virus comes several times a year. It isn't something too terrible if I'm safe at the moment. This can help you become calmer. Keep tapping and telling yourself, "I'm safe, my life is safe, my world is safe."
没什么了不起的，我很安全，我在这里，我在现在，我在当下，我很安全。一根拇指。
If your mood is very chaotic and crazy, try putting your thumb on your temple and the other 4 fingers lightly on your forehead.
就这样子，就这样子。
Gently put your thumbs on their temple and the other 4 fingers on your head and try to press. If you can't do that, just try to hold it like this.
Focus on your breath for 1 to 3 minutes, and slowly your heart will begin to calm down.
把血液带到我们的前额，就是我们比较。
Bringing blood to our forehead makes us more sensible rather than an emotional state which makes us stuck in the margin of our brain. This can help us return to reality, return to the present moment, and return to this more rational thinking in the forehead.
Doctors also remind people to eat less sweets so as to avoid immunity reduction. In these extraordinary times of crisis, it is important for everyone to turn their attention to both their body and their minds.
Dengue fever is a common infectious disease in Malaysia. There are 4 types of viruses. When one recovers from one kind of virus and catches the other virus the next time, his symptoms will become even more serious. People must carefully prevent the spread of dengue fever and maintain the sanitation of one's living environment.
Dengue fever usually occurs in tropical and subtropical areas, including Malaysia. Urbanization and the flow of populations has led to the spread of dengue fever to other countries. In 2019, Malaysia's dengue fever cases reached 130,000, 50,000 more than the cases in 2018.
There are 4 kinds of dengue fever: Den 1, Den 2, Den 3, and Den 4. If you have one of the virus, you would develop antibody for that virus, but you might still have chance to be infected with the other viruses. Usually, the condition would be more serious by then because a different kind of virus is attacking your immune system. If you have recovered, even if the mosquito bites you, since you no longer have the virus, you won't infect others with the disease.
There are 3 stages of dengue fever infection. It's the fever phase, the critical phase, and the third phase of recovery.
From the first to the third day, the patient still has a fever, and platelets are normal. The critical phase usually takes place on the 4th and 5th day. By then, the patient's fever has gone down, but his platelets start to decrease and the thickness of the blood increases. Complications usually take place in this stage, which is dangerous. The patient starts to throw up. He has cramps and cannot eat anything. Then he would discover that he starts to bleed easily. His gums would bleed and there are red spots on his body. If he has gone through the critical phase, at the recovery phase, the patient has slowly recovered. His platelets and white blood cells would gradually increase.
According to World Health Organization's advice, there's a high chance that the patient will have a high fever and body aches, including headaches. If one has dengue fever, one should seek medical attention at a nearby hospital.
Usually, we will see how long you have had the fever and other symptoms. We will draw your blood to be tested to see if there is dengue fever virus in it. If you need to be hospitalized, they will ask you to go to government hospitals. Some dengue fever patients have good appetite and can drink a lot of water and do not have complications. They can rest at home and just go to hospitals for blood tests. We do not yet have medicines and vaccines for dengue fever, so we need to prevent ourselves from being infected.
Processing solid waste and cleaning the gutters and using pesticide appropriately can prevent the growth of mosquitoes.
Especially on rainy days when water easily accumulates, we must change the water regularly to avoid the growth of mosquito.
Understanding dengue fever is the key to preventing people from getting infected with the virus.
There are many ways to get rid of mosquito, including spraying pesticide and hanging mosquito nets. In Malaysia, a councilman and city volunteer came up with a solution of food chain. They release rainbow fish into gutters with a lot of mosquito larvae so that the fish will eat them all. This way they can get rid of the mosquito without pollutions.
Food chain is a linear network of life cycles and food web of different organisms in the nature, starting from producer organisms and ending at decomposer species. The eating and being eaten relationship is similar to a chain, forming a food chain.
Since I was working as a special assistant to the senator, I've attended every meeting regarding epidemics. Therefore, I have learned a lot of knowledge regarding pest control.
The Semboran Perai councilman and his partners have caught more than 1,000 rainbow fish and released them into the water with a lot of mosquito larvae. The rainbow fish feed on the mosquito larvae, thus reducing its number.
I searched on the internet and found that this natural method can effectively solve the problem of mosquito larvae. I've done an experiment near my house. There are a lot of mosquito larvae in the gutters, so I released some fish in there. Then, in a few days, the mosquito larvae are gone. When I get complaints about mosquito larvae, I would go catch fish, which is also a wild fish species, with a few friends. Although the gutter water is a bit contaminated, the fish can still survive. They eat the mosquito larvae very fast and reproduce at a fast speed.
The food chain maintains the stability between organisms. It also allows the number and percentage of different kinds of organisms to remain stable.
Look, this is a bird's nest, part of the nature. We should not destroy it, but to coexist with it.
To maintain a healthy ecosystem, Chen Fei Wang, who has a vegetable garden in front of his house, utilizes natural farming.
This pest should be stinky pest. I don't know what kind of insect it is. I do not use pesticide. This is just enzyme and water. Using pesticide will destroy the environment. Using pesticide, you might have vegetables to eat, but the entire earth and the environment will be destroyed. The ecosystem is also damaged. This is yam. It can hide in the dark gutter. In the past, the gutter directly discharges. Let the frogs run and live here. We need to rely on the frogs to get rid of mosquitoes. Do not pay attention to it. Let it live naturally. The frogs, toads, and geckos will eat them, so there's no mosquito larva.
There are many ways to prevent mosquito. However, maintaining the balance of ecosystem seems to be the key of how people can coexist with animals.
A message that says eating eggplant together with mushroom will cause poison is being circulated in chat rooms and is causing panic. Let's see what experts say about it.
Eating eggplant and mushroom together will cause poison. But is this true?
Does anyone cook them together? I've never heard about it. What will happen when people eat both of them? I think it should be alright. I've never heard it will cause any problem.
If you go out after the raining day and pick those wild mushrooms, they'll cause toxic reactions. However, the mushrooms sold in the market don't have any phytotoxin. Some people feel eggplants has toxin, but it is an allergic reaction. It means that when you eat it, you can't digest the protein, so your immune system will cause reactions such as rashes or itches.
Eggplant and mushroom are plants, and they are rich in fibers that can improve digestion. The mushroom is rich with polysaccharides that can improve the immune system and also lower the blood sugar and the blood pressure. So if you eat them together, they won't cause poison. However, how do people avoid allergic reactions?
We can take a bite or two or drink some spoonful or two and notice our reaction. If you don't have any rash or any bad digestion, then it means you can handle them and you aren't allergic to them.
The nutritionist wants to remind people that people do not show the same allergic reactions. So if the parents want to feed them to their children, they can do so with a small amount first and record it so the children can eat them safely.
On the last fall arrangement class in Danshui, New Taipei City, the students saw a different kind of lesson than before. The teacher promoted vegetarianism against the new coronavirus. They also played a game on the smartphone to examine their lifestyle and learn to cherish natural resources.
This is the last class on flower arrangement in Danshui. Everyone's hands are sanitized and the seats have become further apart. On a closer look on the table, we see not just the flowers, but also delicious vegetarian meals.
If we can be vegetarian while protecting the earth, we all have responsibility towards the earth, but much of the time we don't know what our responsibility is.
Playing this little game can help them know their responsibility. Every obstacle to reach the next level can help them understand themselves.
Eating vegetarian meal can make us feel light within our body. Not like if we eat meat, we will often feel burdened and heavy.
We can love the earth by changing the way we use water.
If we can save 1 minute of water usage, we can reduce the carbon emission by 780 grams.
When I heard that to save water, we should take a shower for 3 minutes, I felt it wasn't possible. It sounds like a soldier's shower. But after listening to the sister's explanation, I felt we could give it a try.
After losing her husband, volunteer Li Chunlan has found a positive energy in her value from a study group. The master's teaching also helped her change her temper. Now 72-year-old, she is a full-time volunteer and devoted herself to serve those in need.
I learned from the study group that we must have the right belief and the right thinking.
72-year-old Li Chunlan has never missed the global ebook online study group for 7 years, but not long after she joined it, an impermanence struck her heart.
My husband was cutting a tree for a building, but perhaps he did it too hard that he suddenly fainted and then died, so I was unable to accept it because it happened too quickly.
Her husband suddenly passed away and their grandson was not even 1 month old. Her anxiety was smoothed out at the study group.
The cohesion from the study group was very excellent, and everyone was very supportive, and the support was very inspiring. So after you come to a place like this, your grievances will naturally go away.
Li Chunlan was a management-level personnel in a hotel, so Master Zheng Yan's teachings also helped her change her temper.
When I was working, I was always in a hurry, and I was also headstrong, so I might have offended my colleagues. After I retired, I began to learn to change my temper.
The positive energy from the study group changed her temperament. Previously, she had an eye surgery, but she still comes to the study group every week.
Li Chunlan is persistent with attending the study group, and it also allowed her to become a full-time volunteer. She also volunteers at a parent-children class and a community class. Her new life fills her with happiness every day.
Let's continue to look at our series of Tzu Chi's medical mission journey.
In Mozambique, Africa, a woman carried her baby to receive Tzu Chi's aid supplies. After the country was devastated by Cyclone Idai in March 2019, Tzu Chi conducted several aid distributions to help those affected in Mozambique, like this woman and her family. In May 2019, after Tzu Chi's emergency relief ended, medical staff from Taiwan's Tzu Chi hospitals arrived in Mozambique and worked alongside Tzu Chi's medical volunteers from 6 countries to give 3 large-scale free clinics. In times of disaster, war, or crisis, this is how Tzu Chi's medical staff and volunteers from around the world work together to help those in need of medical attention wherever they are in the world. In 2015, a powerful earthquake struck Nepal. At Tzu Chi's medical station, a boy's screaming pierced the air. His left ring finger had been severed during the quake, and Tzu Chi's medical team was doing their best to treat him. At the other side of the medical station, Tzu Chi's doctors were operating on a patient whose feet were severely injured in the quake. In the middle of the surgery, the power went off, but the doctors continued the operation with the help of a mobile phone flashlight. Tzu Chi's medical volunteers are members of a volunteer group called TIMA, or Tzu Chi International Medical Association. There are now over 8,000 TIMA medical volunteers in 13 countries and regions. As of 2018, they provided free medical services to over 3 million people in 50 countries and regions. How did such a large international group of medical volunteers come about in the first place? Needless to say, it was inspired by Master Zhengyan's compassion for the poor and ill, and the selfless giving of those serving at the free clinic the Masters set up in 1972. Love transcends all boundaries. For decades, Tzu Chi's mission of medicine has benefited numerous people in the aftermath of major calamities around the world. In the decades to come, Tzu Chi's medical staff and volunteers will continue to safeguard more people's health and lives, giving them hope for a brighter future.
The U.S. headquarters connected all volunteers through the online study group, and everyone prayed for the epidemic to be ended soon. Take a look and see you next time.